Welcome everybody, welcome to Selenium training. Today we will be starting with WebDriver. I'll tell you some examples on WebDriver. The first thing which you need to do in order to learn WebDriver is that you need to understand the architecture of WebDriver. For understanding the architecture of WebDriver, you need to be very comfortable with Java. Okay, so now I will just write over here download Selenium and I'll go to the site of Selenium, right? And when I move over to the site, out here I have this Java driver, WebDriver. This is basically the WebDriver download Java client version. You click on the Java doc. Java doc is nothing but the documentation of WebDriver. This is the documentation of each and every Java class which is defined inside the WebDriver. So if you are a newbie to Selenium, if you don't know Java, then it's very necessary for you to learn Java because this documentation is completely in Java. Selenium WebDriver has been completely implemented in Java. Okay, so although it's also implemented in many other languages, we are learning here it with Java. So when we are learning the Java WebDriver, we need to be very comfortable with Java. In my module number 4 of Selenium training in object oriented programming, I had taken the concepts of interface. Right now, similarly, WebDriver is nothing but WebDriver is an interface in Java. Whosoever did the Java coding of WebDriver made WebDriver an interface. This is the WebDriver interface. This interface has got many implementing classes. For example, Chrome driver is one of the implementing classes. Android driver, event firing driver. We saw event firing driver. It can be used to move your mouse and all and do a lot of stuff. Okay, then Firefox driver is there, HTML unit driver, iPhone simulator. So these are the implementing classes for the WebDriver. WebDriver is an interface and many classes interface the features of that WebDriver. We saw in module 4 that what is an interface and how it is implemented. And so these classes are implementing the interface and they are implementing these all functions. Close, find element by, get current URL. So these are the functions which are implemented by these classes. So for example, if I go in my code, okay, I have created a project here called WebDriver intro. I have downloaded and configured all the jar files in this, right? How do you download the jar files and configure the jar files of WebDriver? You go to the Selenium site and you download the jar files from here. And as I told you in module number 7 of Java, that is the module in which we learned how to read Excel files from Java and all in order to parameterize these test cases, I told you how to include these jar files into Selenium. Sorry, into Eclipse, right? Similarly, you can include the jar files of which you have downloaded into Eclipse. See, I have included these Java files, Java jar files over here. These are the jar files for Selenium. Now, as I have included the jar files of Selenium in the project, I am ready to use the WebDriver. Okay, so you make a new class. I will just write test. The class name is test app. Now inside it, I will just write one line. That is WebDriver d1 equals to new Firefox driver. What is a Firefox driver? It is one of the classes we saw in the documentation that is implementing the WebDriver interface. Okay, 1 minute. Yeah. Okay, so when I write this, what will happen? A new Firefox will open up. Okay, if I want to take that Firefox to some website, right, if I want to take that Firefox to a particular website, then I can write d1 dot get and I can give the URL. Make sure that you give the protocol in the URL, http say yahoo.com. okay, after that, suppose I want to open up another website and take it to a different another browser and take it to a different website. So I'll make a new object reference of WebDriver and give a new website, say bbc.com. okay, so this way one of the browsers will go to yahoo.com and another browser will go to bbc.com. If you look at the documentation of Selenium, okay, if you go to the Java doc again, then open the WebDriver interface. which we just saw. Yes, this is the one. In it there is one function known as get. We just use that function. It takes the URL to which you want to go to. Get current URL will give you the current URL in the browser. Get title will give you the title of the browser. So I can write over here system.out.println d1.get title, right? So this will give you the title of yahoo.com website. Alright, after that you can write d2.getTitle. This will give the title of bbc.com. After that you can write d1.quit. This will close the first browser, and d2.quit. This will close the second browser. What I am not doing is I am not actually putting some delay. I'll put some delay like thread.sleep for 5 seconds. You should not use this. I'm using this thread.sleep just to make you understand stuff. Okay, practically you should avoid using this. Fine, you can use this in some circumstances, not a problem. Okay, so I will just run this code now, and what will happen is that two browsers will open up. Two Firefox browsers will open. One will go to Yahoo, one will go to BBC. Fine, see, one has opened and it's going to Yahoo, and yahoo.com has opened, and the other browser will open up in some time, and it should actually go to bbc.com. Okay, I think I made some mistake. Okay, this should be d2.get bbc. I navigated d1 to bbc. This is the second Firefox browser. I'll close the browsers. Okay, I'll just run the code again, and this time the first browser will go to Yahoo, the second one will go to BBC. This is the first one opening going to yahoo.com, and the second one will open and it is going to BBC. Fine, and in the output I will get the logs generated, and it will print Yahoo India as the first title, right, and BBC homepage as the second title. Fine, now you can do n number of things. You can print, see, in the end both the browsers got closed. Okay, d1.quit and d2.quit. So you can call a lot of functions in this interface WebDriver, and one of them is driver.findElement and findElements. These two functions you will be using a lot. The findElement function is used to find a particular element like a checkbox, like input box, button, link. FindElements is used to find objects of similar type. Like I want to extract all the links of a page, I want to extract all the buttons of a page, all the web elements of a page, whatever you want. So you can simply use FindElements. So we'll be looking at this as we move on with this course. Fine. So let us now start with module number 11 officially. I just gave you a simple example. Okay. Now we'll start with the training module 11.